$140,000 public defender Julie Cianca. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been an innocent man in jail 6 times. In Monroe County Jail, Rochester, New York, Livingston County Jail, Geneseo, New York. 6 times a prosecutor didn't appear in court or didn't make an argument in court. That's Penfield Town Court, New York State Supreme Court, that I committed a crime. I'm going to show you the Freedom of Information Law. I'm going to read 3. And you have this information in the Freedom of Information Law. Because you, in a paper file, electronic file, $140,000 public defendant Julie Cianca, have the names of my prosecutors silenced. That has violated my civil and constitutional rights. And you refuse for 3+ years to identify these freaks and psychopaths and degenerates. Because you're in fear of the freaks and psychopaths and degenerates at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, where you're a de facto employee of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. This is the Freedom of Information Law right here. As I point to you with the official finger of Brooklyn, New York. Thursday, August 13th, 7:02 p.m. I hope to email this YouTube tonight, Gmail or mail.com. Proton mail, I don't know yet, but it'll arrive. If it doesn't arrive tonight for some reason, it'll arrive tomorrow. The YouTube link. But you can click on it. And then I'm going to print it out in a cover letter. I'm going to send it to you. And you're not going to open your mail. You're going to refuse to open your mail. This YouTube link is going to arrive to you in the next 72 hours. Public Defender Julie Cianca. The United States Postal Service, registered mail return receipt, where you'll send the envelope back to me. Federal Express, where you'll send the envelope back to me. And UPS, where you send the envelope back to me. Freedom of Information Law, August 13, 2026. Documentation of the case of Christopher Chichester with John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? $140,000 public defender Julie Cianca. Do you have this information? $140,000 public defender Julie Cianca. Send it to me. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester in Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? $140,000 public defender Julie Cianca. You have this information in an electronic file or paper file. $140,000 public defender Julie Cianca. Send it to me. The third Freedom of Information Law. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? $140,000 public defender Julie Cianca. You have this information in an electronic file and paper file. $140,000 public defender Julie Cianca. So with 2 minutes and 53 seconds, if you're watching this still, send it to me. Right here. 130 North Winton Road, Box 10184, Rochester, New York, 14614. Sheriff Todd Baxter. Todd, baby. So when I go to check my box tomorrow at 9 a.m. at 130 North Winton Road, you can have Richard Seatman waiting for me out there. And when I walk underneath the bridge there, to get to the post office, you can have Seatman run at me and slam his arm into the side of my head, Todd, baby, and I'll fall down on my head. I'll hit the concrete ground. Or you can have Michael Houlihan over there, and he could say that I ran after him and swung a hammer at him, this fucking psychopath and freak that you love, Sheriff Todd Baxter. And Director of the Grand Jury, Michelle Crowley, why don't you call me to the Grand Jury about Michael Houlihan, where he's hiding on private property with $85,000 Don Benedetto? Did you watch the body camera, Michelle Crowley? When I ask you this question on YouTube, I understand if you don't watch me, but this is going to arrive in your district attorney's office, where I'm going to ask you directly, Director of the Grand Jury, Michelle Crowley, did you watch the body camera of Michael Houlihan in Penfield, New York, chasing me up onto my back porch with $85,000 Don Benedetto, that Regina Harper, the public defender's office that worked for you, $140,000 Julie Cianca, showed me? Or not? What's the answer, Michelle Crowley? The answer from you is dead silence. So, Freedom of Information Law. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? $40,000 public defender Julie Cianca. I'm in front of Alex Renzi because of Michael Houlihan, this 70-year-old fossil who doesn't even know where he is. When I was in there in front of Renzi, I believe I defy all the conventional ways a defendant is supposed to behave. Because I looked up his biography and I saw that he was a graduate of Emory Law School in Atlanta, Georgia, not any law school in New York. New York has its B team law schools, like Toro Law School. I have a friend of mine I went to high school with. I won't mention his name because I'd be violating his privacy, but I have known him since I was 12 years old. And when you've known each other for that long, because we were on the cross country team together in junior high school and high school. And I would say to him, Toro Law School, that's not Harvard. And he would laugh because he was a terrific friend. But he knew that Toro Law School was a B law school. And I'd like to know if Alex Renzi thinks that his Emory University is the Harvard of the South. I'm sure he tells people that, or even thinks it. So, Julie Cianca. Now at 5 minutes, who is it? Public defender Julie Cianca disclosed the names on prosecuted silence, August 1, 2023. This is 3+ years ago. When I pursue your disbarment, because I'm confident you will be disciplined, and I'm confident you can be fired, but I'm 100% confident you will be disciplined. I'm less confident you'll be fired, and I'm less confident you'll be disbarred, but I'm going to pursue all that because I'm going to send this YouTube along with the transcript, what I said here. Every word, I'm going to have this in transcript, including this here. This is attached in PDF, so you can read it from 3+ years ago. Well, I still don't know who these freaks and psychopaths and degenerates are. And the driving force reason because of you, Julie Cianca. Because you're insanely in fear of the district attorney's office. You want to cut deals with these psychopaths and freaks and fanatics. You want them to have a high opinion of you. Oh, she has terrific ethics when they're really manipulating you and you don't know it. August 1, 2023, Julie Cianca, public defender, 10 North Fitzhugh Street, Rochester, New York, 14614. I've repeatedly sent for your registered mail return receipt. Freedom of information requires you to disclose the names I process silence you refused by returning large mail envelopes to my address, Blowing Park Avenue. This is corruption and you don't know it. I've been in jail 6 times, 6 times a sociopath, fanatic, freak in the district attorney's office, did not talk in court. When I appear in these disgusting scar chambers as an innocent man, I have a prosecutor assigned to that appearance. I prosecute silence for bullet point Penn Court Judge John P. Lomenzo Jr., bullet point Penn Court Judge Paul C. Metz, bullet point New York State Supreme Court Judge Alex Renzi. What are the names of my prosecutor silence? You know. Disclose the names of these sociopaths, fanatics, and freaks to me. The attached free information or documents, PDF, or an envelope should return to me. The reason you return these envelopes is you fear the Kool-Aid drinkers at the district attorney's office. You're particularly in fear of the Kool-Aid drinker that is district attorney Sandra Dorley. District Attorney Sandra Dorley formed a, quote, conviction integrity union, end quote, in the 1984. That's a disgusting office. You know why? It's because innocent citizens are in jail and prosecutors are unable to make an argument in court that a defendant committed a crime. I've used to fall upon her delicate resistance to force this hack to disclose information to me about her little unit. She refused. She refused because she's corrupt. She's at an insane government Spitzer level corruption. I've been attacked by 75-904 Richard Sieben, the Montgomery Sheriff's Office, Penn Public Library. I'm on YouTube describing his felony assault. It's attached. I saw him when I was arrested for double jeopardy on Penfield Road. I was arrested twice in fiction and fantasy land that occupies the head of 73312 Michael Hoon in the Sheriff's Office. I was delivered to Livingston County Jail in Genesee, New York because this is cop freak. When a prosecutor make an argument, I committed a crime in Penfield Court. The PDF link is report on the investigation of the death of Wesley Soper on September 28, 2022 by the Office of Special Investigation for Attorney General Letitia James about Houlihan. PDF link. How am I in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? How am I in jail because of a wrecking ball like 73312 Michael Houlihan at the Sheriff's Office? His hatred for the human condition, his refusal and inability to recognize innocence, abuse of power that destroys an ordinary life. I've been on YouTube 50 times to demand Sandra Dorley disclose the names I prosecute silence, and that includes evil, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi, perjury on Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi, corruption and fanaticism, Penfield Court, $28,000 Paul C. Metzler, violence, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, 75904 Richard Sieben, TikTok MCSO, violent fanatic Richard Sieben. I'm not asking for information in this email. I'm telling you to disclose the names of these sociopaths, fanatics, and freaks at District Attorney's Office now. The Appellate Division of State Supreme Court is where an attorney is disbarred. I'll put disbarment for my prosecutor silence. This goal can't be achieved when you refuse to honor the simplicity of the Freedom of Information Law. You must be removed as public defender by Montgomery County Legislature President Sabrina Lamar. I'll contact her directly, includes this email to you in the documentation. You'll continue to receive documentation from me via registered mail return receipt. Requires you to disclose any identities of my prosecutor silence. These are identities you have in your office, paper files, or hard drive, both. It is insane for public defenders to refuse to disclose basic information to a defendant that is the identity of a prosecutor resigned. Christopher Childs at 620 Park Avenue, Rochester, New York. And then there's my email there. Well, you could have emailed it to me too, and you didn't. I didn't get a goddamn thing for you. You six-figure psychopath. Six-figure psychopath, Julie Cianca. Silence of Monroe County Public Defender, Julie Cianca. Can you see your name right there? There's your email, too. Cianca, right there. There's your email, jcianca@monroecounty.gov. What's the problem? The problem is you're corrupt. That's the problem. It's that simple. It's that simple, and then it's not that simple. Given what you are and what you represent, Julie Cianca, what you represent is fanaticism. April 2nd, 2023, Julie Cianca, Monroe County Public Defender, 10 North Fitch Street, Rochester, New York, 14614. Mail the names of my prosecutor's, the address below in Rochester, New York, read the 10 attached PDF documents, resign. Sometimes I'll have 7, 8, 9, 10 graphs, 1,000 words on here. And then sometimes I go with simplicity, which is just the links in one sentence. How simple is that right there? Julie Cianca, for you to understand what I'm telling you to do. And here on just this July 16th, this is 3 weeks ago, July 16th, Perry Douglas, Julie Cianca, here. And I'm telling you again, using the Freedom of Information Law, there's your email right there, Cianca. Can you see your name as I point to you with the official finger of Brooklyn, New York, or not? 3 years ago, on July 16th, I contacted Sheriff Todd Banks, District Attorney Sandra Doyle with this language. Your office received a criminal complaint from me the next 7 days about 80-year-old Antonio Spano, Fairport and blocking me out of my residence, Pemberton, New York, without a court order. He will not be arrested for given age. Your office received a criminal complaint next 7 days by the name Rashad, Pemberton, New York, false reporting criminal act, walked through a park about 4,000 times. He will not be arrested because you Kool-Aid drinkers can't identify a crime. Your office received a criminal complaint about me in the next 7 days, about 75904, Richard Seaton, violently assaulting Pemberton public library. He will not be arrested and fired because of Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee. $82,000 Todd Thurston. Do you know Richard Seaman? Do you know this fucking psychopath, the lunatic, or not? Do you notice I'm using profanity? Because I'm confident with Seaman because I know his likeness that 4 years ago came to my residence to tell me not to swear at a woman named Nancy Dooley, who was repeatedly staring at my dog. And I've talked about that over and over, which I won't again. Do you know him, Todd Thurston? Do you know Richard Seaman? William Tadeo? Brendan Hurley, do you know Richard Seaman? Or not? Because Richard Seaman is being protected by Todd Baxter with the Blue Wall Silence. And when I get the payroll and I see that he's been given a raise from $75,904 to $85,000 or $90,000, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a $100,000 cop now. That's to be again confirmation Todd Baxter loves and embraces violence. Here you are, May 31, 2026, just you, Public Defender Julie Cianca. Attached PDF of 3 Freedom of Information Law documents dated May 31, 2026, this language. Documentation of the case for Christopher Charge of John P. Lenzer, Jr. Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Public Defender Julie Cianca? 2. The documentation of the case for Christopher Charge of Paul C. Lenzer, Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Public Defender Julie Cianca? Documentation for the case for Christopher Charge of Alex Renzi, United States Supreme Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Public Defender Julie Cianca? You're paid $140,000 taxpayer dollars to refuse to disclose information to me that's in your possession, in electronic file, paper file. I've contacted you for 3+ years demanding you disclose the names of corrupt prosecutors that violate my civil and constitutional rights. You refused every time to comply with the law. I've communicated with you and psychopaths at the District Attorney's Office on YouTube, Psychosis, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi, YouTube Gangster, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi, Nothing is Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi, TikTok, on TikTok. Identify my prosecutor's silence, Julie Cianca. That's what that says. How many times and how many different ways do I have to tell you, Julie Cianca? Tell me this information you have in electronic file or paper file. File Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi. I've been violently attacked by Sheriff Todd Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees. I now know I can take a beating because he's a skinhead, stooge, and criminal. So here we are right here on April 13th when I was in Farmington, New York. I'm not going to talk about that right now. It's the lunatic fringe, just like being locked out at 275 Park Avenue, Rochester, New York. April 13th, 2026, for Deputy District Attorney Perry Douglas, Public Defender Julie Cianca. 3 years ago on April 13th, I contacted Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle via Gmail. Read it. That's attached PDF. Read the attached PDF dated April 13, 2026, the United States Attorney for West District, New York, Michael D. Giacomo. Mail the names of my process office, the address listed below in Farmington, New York. The reason why I didn't have the PDF there is I didn't have access to make a PDF, and I did not have access to print out the Freedom of Information Law. That's why this here doesn't have the foil with this date. And the same thing here. I think I had attached the foil here, but this is April 7th. 2 years ago on April 7th, I contacted you each via Gmail and YouTube, District Attorney's Office, Public Defender's Office, the language of the Gmail. So I did not have it here. I'm not going to read this again, but this goes on here from April 7, 2024. April 7, 2026, I told you without using the Freedom of Information Law to tell me who is. The day before, April 6, 2023. 3 years ago, on April 6, 2023, I contacted you each by the abomination of Penfordtown Court. The YouTube link, $28,000 policy amendment of Penfordtown Court was violently attacked the Penford Public Library by 75904 Richard J. Seaton, the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, because you as one person, little Penfordtown Court want to deliver me to jail. It's not going to be jail in Monroe County. Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, District Attorney's Office. Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan. What are the names of my prosecutor? Penfordtown Court for this bald-headed, wig-wearing Paul C. Metzler, $34,000 John P. Metzler Jr., $200,000 Alex Renzi. New York State Supreme Court, one of you psychopaths, the District Attorney's Office decided to elevate me to Alex Renzi. Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan. Who is it? Mail the names of your corrupt prosecutors, silence have violated my civil constitutional rights listed below in Farmington, New York. I'm in jail 6 times in Monmouth County Jail, Rochester, New York, Livingston County Jail, Genesee, New York, when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court. How am I in jail, Monmouth County Jail, Rochester, New York, Livingston County Jail, Genesee, New York, when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? Perry Douglas of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. How am I in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? Perry Douglas of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. How? Prosecutor can't make an argument in court. Perry Douglas right here, January 1, 2023. Perry Douglas, District Attorney, 47 South Fitzhugh Street, Rochester, New York. Attached PDF is a 61-page Freedom of Information Law document dated December 20, 2022 that arrived in your office via UPS. This documentation also arrived December 22nd, 2022, December 26th, 2022 via UPS. Was tracked. You have it. Print each. Bring it to your corrupt boss, District Attorney Sandra Jolie. Tells pathetic accumulation of health afflictions. Send the information to the UPS address below. It includes the names of my prosecutor silence. What's not to understand? Demanded names of prosecutor silence for 18 months. I'll be in court again because you're false psychopaths. No one takes one corrupt judge. 6 Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. Paul C. Metzler, Little Penfordtown Court, to claim me guilty of criminal charges you concoct. Prosecutor never talked in court for me. Yet I've been in jail 6 times. It's fanatics and hatred of your office serves the attention of the United States Department of Justice. You receive the same foil documentation dated January 2nd, 2023 and January 3rd, 2023 compels you to disclose the names of prosecutor's silence. You will continue to refuse and craving silence. YouTube 61 Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dolly, Alex Renzi, 4 YouTube Laura Riley, again Christopher Tiges, 620 Park Avenue, Rochester, New York. You will continue to refuse and craving silence. Perry Douglas is exactly right. It's not to understand. The criminal complaints here, Richard Seaton, Namrod Shah, Layla Kumar Shah, Antonio Spano, Laura Riley. I've read these repeatedly. That Richard Seaton, the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, walked in Pemberton Club, Glen, Pemberton, New York, ran Christopher Chichester, slams on the head of Chichester, calls him fall backwards, hit his head around the top floor, Namrod Layla Kumar Shah, 2033 Pemberton Road. Pemberton, New York, false report hints of Christopher Chichester, forming 26 Sands from Drive, walking to his bar cut. Next to his residence, Antonio Spano, Fairport, out block front and back doors of residence, 26 Sands from Drive, Pemberton, New York, about a quarter, Laura Riley, Webster, transport the personal belongings of Christopher Chichester, 26 Sands from Drive, and Pemberton, New York, to restore his locker, Webster, New York, without a court order. They're on there, just like this criminal complaint for perjury. I'm not going to read that again. Michael Houlihan's a freak. Todd Baxter loves this freak, Michael Houlihan. So, there you are on August 1, 2023. Perry Douglas just does not matter to you. August 1, 2023, August 13, 2026. I still don't know who it is. Sheriff Todd Baxter. Todd, baby, this is where I am, all right? So tell Richard Seaton to come over here, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Tell him to be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. when I leave to go for a run, all right? This is where I am. So on the freak show of South Union Street, where RPD and MCSO does enforce any traffic laws, this is where I am right here, because I am at 270 on East, South Union Street, of course you know, runs right past it. So this is where I am, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Tell this freaking psychopath Richard Seaton to wait for me. Now he'll run at me, slam me in the head, I'll fall down my head on the concrete pavement. Tell Michael Houlihan, another freaking psychopath that you protect with the blue wall signs. I chased him with a hammer. I tried to hit Michael Houlihan with a hammer, fiction in the head of this cop freak. So this is where I am, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Be here tomorrow. Or you can send documentation for me in the mail. I'm in apartment 417 here in this great building. So send it to me. And then you can force me into court, Perry Douglas, of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Brian P. Green. We're all just going to stand there, and you can have the corrupt judges like Alex Renzi or Alex Renzi declare me guilty of some fiction of fantasy land in your heads, where you're trying to get me into court. We don't have to talk. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to explain a goddamn thing. So this is where I am. So be here tomorrow. So I have documentation where I print documentation out. I have 15, 20, 25 feet of documentation. So I'm printing right now. I'm getting documentation printed. Patrick Printing. I'm going to be at Patrick Printing on East Main Street tomorrow, Chef Top Box. Tell Richard Seaman to wait for me there because I usually get there around 8:30, 8:45 in the morning. And tell Seaman to run at me and go berserk and violently attack me because I could take a beating because of you, Sheriff Todd Baxter. So this is $354.69. That's what I owe him, the latest amount of money I owe for printing. Because the printing that I do, I send to the District Attorney's Office, the Sheriff's Office, the United States Department of Justice, New York State Legislature, uh, Congressman Joe Morelli, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Senator Charles Schumer, and I don't hear anything from these people because it just doesn't matter. So, Innocent Man, July 12th, 2026, it's attached here, my Innocent Man. Sheriff Todd Baxter, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, you're crazy, resign. And then I have 10 attachments here. July 20th, 2023 correspondence, Perry Duck and Mark Bonnet, District Attorney's Office. July 19th, 2023 correspondence, District Attorney San Giorgio. July 18th, 2023 correspondence, District Attorney San Giorgio. July 16th, 2023 correspondence, District Attorney San Giorgio. July 15th, 2020 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter. July 13th, 2020 correspondence, District Attorney San Giorgio. February 16th, 2023 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney San Giorgio. February 19th, 2023 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney San Giorgio. February 7th, 2023 correspondence, Robert J. Valenti, United States Department of Veterans Affairs. February 5th, 2023 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney San Giorgio. Doesn't matter to this sheriff at all. Anything I say to him, the truth is irrelevant to him because he's a psychopath. That's why. And I don't have my DD 214. I'm not going to read that again. I've had this document for 30 years. This is my 1980 Mercury Capri when I left 2nd Squadron, 17 Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division, April 14th, 1988. Does not matter at all. I haven't heard a siren go by from American Medical Response. I haven't heard any of the 50 sirens that went by here today. Lunatic Fringe, Rochester. This is Mayor Malik Evans in total oblivion about his own city. Because I lived at 111 C Street in Washington, D.C., and I lived at 600 Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C., and I lived at 157 Winthrop Avenue in Albany, New York, and I lived at 86th Street in Albany, New York. This is 15 years of my life at these residences, and I was a homeowner later in Guilderland. But at these two residences in Washington, D.C., and these two residences in Albany, New York, there was a siren after siren after siren going by where I live. And when I walk to work at the United States Capitol or drive or walk to work to the New York State Capitol, I'm not past a siren after siren. There's no AMR racket. There's the Albany Police Department and Washington, D.C. Police Department and Albany Fire Department and Washington, D.C. Fire Department aren't going berserk, going crazy on Washington Avenue and Western Avenue, Madison Avenue, Central Avenue in Albany, New York, or C Street in Washington, D.C., or Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C. That's not happening. Lunatic Fringe. Siren after siren after siren. Doesn't that concern you? Don't you hear it? Don't you see it? Are you deaf and you blind? Do you not know that this does not happen in other major cities or not? It's the corruption of Rochester, New York. That's why. With siren after siren after siren. That's corruption. Because there are no emergencies. That's why. That's a simple reason, which I'm going to attempt to discover exactly where this AMR is going and what the policy is for RPD and RFD. Because I've seen them with their sirens at RFD go right up to a large apartment building, not this one, somewhere else in the city, where they're going crazy with their 3 vehicles. There's no fire out there. There's no emergency as I'm walking by. The 2 minutes took me to walk by. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking, where's the emergency? Where's the fire? The 99% KKK Rochester Fire Department. They really believe in diversity in this democratic city. Would you say employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and Monroe County District Attorney's Office? That's real diversity at the Rochester Fire Department. 99% white. So, who is it? Correspondence here, July 6, 2026. There's 100 plus pages in here. You're up here, Julie Cianca. Yeah, there's your name right there. J. Cianca, pub defender. When I say mail the names, you have refused to disclose the names by prosecutor silence. This whole graph here is about prosecutor silence, and you have this information, Julie Cianca. Who is it, you psychopathic freaking degenerate? Lunatic Fringe for you. Lunatic Fringe. Sheriff Todd Baxter, this is where I'm going to be here. See, send Richard Seaman over here. This is where I am right here. Send him right here. Tell him to wait for me. Or you can send 10 Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees, and that's happened to me, to attack me and stalk me, because that happened to me at Penfield Wegmans. 5 vehicles, 10 Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees, lunatic fringe. Those are 10 employees, 5 vehicles. While I'm again attacked at Wegmans by an unidentified Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee. Here they are with their 5 vehicles, the 10 Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees, because Paul C. Messer wants to send me to jail. 10 Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees for me at Penfield Wegmans. Do you believe that's extremism, Perry Duckles of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office? $140,000. Julie Cianca, employees of the District Attorney's Office. 10 Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees for me. Lunatic fringe. So when this August 4th here, 3 years ago, Julie Cianca, right here, there's your name, copied on the CC. Do you see your name? Right there, Julie Cianca. I'm looking at the camera. I think I can see you here. There you are right there. I'm going to screenshot this as I point to you with the official finger of Brooklyn, New York. Julie Cianca, there you are right there. I'm going to play this YouTube back. I'm going to screenshot this with me pointing to your name with the official finger of Brooklyn, New York. And I'm telling you to tell me who it is, because on this August 4th, 2023, 3 years ago, apply with detached free information law document dated August 4th, 2023, mail and answer, I process out the address of Park Avenue, I prosecute Sounds 4, Lomenzo Menzo Renzi. Then I go on about the 4 criminal complaints. On this purpose, I think just 30 plus minutes. I'm usually on here for 30 plus minutes, because I have to read the foil and I have to tell you again why you freaks and psychopaths and degenerates. 40 years ago, on August 28, 1985, aboard an airplane at LaGuardia Airport, New York City, for a flight to El Paso, Texas. My first day at United States Army Basic Training, Fort Bliss. The last 10 weeks, a short period of time, changes in my life to clarify dedication, perseverance, commitment, determination to pursue excellence. I don't have my DD-214, because when Antonio Spano locked doors and locked me out, a criminal, this 80-year-old man in Fairport, New York, and then Laura Riley, my ex-girlfriend, lives in Webster, New York. I helped her move back to Webster, New York, when our relationship ended in Penfield. Takes everything to a storage locker, and that's a crime too, because it's no court order. I do not have this document that I had for 40 years because of Antonio Spano and Laura Riley. They have not been arrested. This is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, is write a criminal complaint about Laura Riley. I've known since I was 20 years old in 1986. So $140,000 public defender, Julie Cianca, what is not to understand about any of the language I'm using here? I really would like to know what you don't understand about what I'm saying to you, Julie Cianca. Tell me what you don't understand, because you should easily understand what I'm talking about. $140,000 public defender, Julie Cianca. What's not to understand, $140,000 public defender, Julie Cianca, about what I'm telling you to disclose to me? What's not to understand, $140,000 public defender, Julie Cianca. Monroe County Public Defender, Julie Cianca. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have been in jail 6 times, and 6 times prosecutor in the District Attorney's Office of Sandra Dorley has not talked in court. Not one word, not one syllable, not one sound. In your office at 10 North Fitzhugh Street are the names of my prosecutor's assailants. Julie Cianca, 20-year employee of the Monroe County Public Defender's Office. Mail the names of my prosecutor's assailants too. Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. ChristopherChichester@mail.com. cchichesterjul4@gmail.com. What's not to understand? Monroe County Public Defender Julie Cianca. Your employee and subordinate Regina Harper refuses to tell me the names of my prosecutor's assailants. Your employee and subordinate Mark Phillips refuses to tell me the names of my prosecutor's assailants. I've been demanding this information, disclosure of names, from taxpayer, finance, public employees in a public proceeding for 18 months. And you will refuse. Monroe County Public Defender Julie Cianca to disclose the names of my prosecutor's assailants. I have contacted District Attorney's Office Sandra Dorley for this 18 months, using the Freedom of Information Law, which is legally binding upon her, and she's refusing every single time to disclose the names of my prosecutor's assailants. How is a citizen, Monroe County Public Defender Julie Cianca, in jail once when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? I've been in jail 6 times with this total silence, and the reasons for this. I read the payroll for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office on YouTube. I read the payroll for the Monroe County District Attorney's Office on YouTube. They all know what they're paid because it's me. Because of me. Does life matter? Monroe County Public Defender Julie Cianca. My 50th birthday, July 4, 2015. I have a speeding ticket in my place of employment in Albany, New York. A speeding ticket in my place of employment in Washington, D.C. I have always known the difference between right and wrong, legal and illegal. These are psychopaths at the District Attorney's Office, Julie Cianca. These are psychopaths at the Sheriff's Office, Julie Cianca. These are psychopaths in Pendleton Town Court, Paul C. Nutter, John P. Lomenzo Jr. Alex Reggie's a psychopath in New York State Supreme Court, sitting there as one person in judgment of me when he knows a prosecutor doesn't have to talk in court. Look at my face, Julie Cianca. Disclose the names of my prosecutors. You understand me, you disgusting hack? Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. Contact me, Monroe County Public Defender Julie Cianca, and disclose the names of my prosecutors in silence. Look at my face, $140,000. Julie Cianca. Disclose the names of my prosecutors in silence.